Good morning, YouTubers, and happy Thanksgiving. I wanted to talk a little bit about family traditions and how important it is to your family. And so I figured I'd share my family traditions and go, because I would love to know yours. And yesterday was like the best day of the year for me in family traditions. And my girls, and then let's go a little back. It's like I have 7 children and 21 grandchildren and son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws, and so when we all get together, oh Lord, there's like over 30 people. We can't invite extras. We have in the past. And yes, I have in a Victorian house, and it's big. But when they all come here, wow, the walls start caving in. But again, my favorite thing to do with my children is they come over the day before and we prepare. And we think of all our favorite things 2 weeks before we start putting our list together. We have a chat. And they're all, look, what do we want this year? These guys always want the same thing. So we do a stuffed mushroom, which we created ourselves. We do a cream cheese dip, which has been in the family for a long time. Deviled eggs. And what else? Those little stinkers on Oreo balls. So, but I want to jump back and just let you know that when you're watching me, you should always have a pen. Why aren't I putting links down the bottom? I'll tell you why. Because you need to write this stuff down. Because there might be no internet in the future, or everything's going up so high, you might not be able to afford it. And you're going to say to yourself, I wish I would have downloaded that. I wish I would have downloaded that. And yeah, maybe you could do it at work, but get yourself a little book and start writing things down that you want to remember. Get a recipe book, just your own little favorite things to do, holidays, whatever. So first, I'm going to tell you how to make this cream cheese dip, because it's amazing, and you only need 3 things. So the first thing you're going to need is 2 blocks of cream cheese. The next thing you're going to need is scallions, 3 bunches. The next thing you're going to need is dried beef. Now, some of you may never heard of this, but Armour makes it. And then there is another brand with a red top, but you can usually find it near the Spam and the meats. And it's a little tiny jar. It's not big, little. And it's got rolled up meat inside it. And you take that and chop it all up. You chop your chives up and you soften your cream cheese and you just mix it together. You're not going to believe how good that is. Try it. Super good. The next thing I'm going to tell you is Oreo balls. Now, you probably know how to make these, but maybe you've never heard of them. Super easy to make. Get a block of cream cheese, a little bag of Oreos, and you put it in a big bag. Get your hammer out and start chopping. And you squish, and you get it all into a mushy mess. And that's what it's good. So after you get that, you roll them into little balls. You're probably going to want to throw them in the freezer for 5-10 minutes just to get them firm and cold, because you're going to melt chocolate up either in a double boiler or in the microwave for a minute. It doesn't take long. Then you're just going to dip them in, roll them in, set them on wax paper, let them dry. Oh my God, those are so good. Easy things. The last thing I wanted to tell you was a stuffed mushroom that I'm sure you never thought of this, because back in the day when I didn't have a lot of things, I created this. So Excuse me. So you're going to have a couple big white button. You can use any mushroom, but it's the one we use. Mushrooms. And you're going to take the tops off them and wash the tops and the bottoms. So you're going to put you're going to separate them and put them in 2 separate bowls. Then you're going to get your chopper of some kind or your hands and chop up the bottom of your mushroom. Take the really nasty pieces off of the ends. And then chop up a big fat onion. You can use 2. You just chop it all up and mix it together in a blender. Now you're going to take usually we take 2 pans. So we have, in one pan we have the entrails, what we call, the onions and the mushroom bottoms. And then the next one you're going to have your mushrooms flipped over so you can see the insides. And just with butter, so this is the key, is that you're going to want to put in each pan about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You might need more. So then you're going to fry these up. You're going to know when your mushrooms are done because they're going to start turning brown in the center. When they turn brown in the center, flip them over. And then the other side, just when it's cooked, just shut it off and leave it. So here's the weird part. So after everything's cooked, you're going to take your mushrooms and put them in a pan, flipped over so you can stuff them. So in that little pan that you had the entrails, the butter, the lemon juice, add salt and pepper. You're going to cut a half of a bread. So get a half a package of white bread, and you're going to chop, and get your scissors out, and you're going to chop it into cubes. And so then you're going to have these little cubes about so big. So usually when we do it, we have probably 4 cups of bread, at least. But you're going to tell by the way it's cooking. So then you're going to take your mixture that you made, turn it back on, and put it on high. And then you're going to add mozzarella cheese, about a cup, and the bread into that juiciness. So you're going to have your mushroom backs and your onions, bread, butter, salt and pepper, and lemon juice. And you're just going to mix it all together. You're going to keep mixing until it starts browning and crusting on the pan. Just keep scraping it and mixing it and scraping it. If you don't have enough juice, you're going to go back to the other pan and throw some in there. So here's the thing. Test the juice before you add any of that in and see if you've got a lemony flavor. You want that lemony flavor. So if it's not lemony enough or the flavor's not popping, just add salt. Salt pops flavor. Add some pepper, whatever you think it needs. And then you just keep mixing it. So then you just take this mixture that you made and pile. I'm not even kidding you. So here's your little mushroom. Pile it like this. My kids love these things. So the next day when you eat it, you're just popping it in the oven. It's going to get toasty. And that lemon is what does it. It's just got this pop of flavor. It's got that little sweet and sour and savory, and it's just good. So, but that is one of the things we do. Well, the day before we're out, we cook all our vegetables. So we have everything made. We cook our butternut squash and our acorn squash in the oven. Takes probably an hour and a half at least until it's soft. And if you've never done this, cut it in half, scoop out the seeds, flip it over, and in the center, you're gonna put like 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of butter. And you just pop them in the oven. I usually cover them for an hour, and then the last of the half hour, I uncover it. And you can do that for both acorn and butternut, and you get a rich, different flavor. You don't get that watery base. Like, I love butternut squash for years, but after I tried this, I never went back. It's just not the same. The other one is watery and not as much flavor, and the flavor just pops when you bake it. So try it if you've never tried it. And so we have all that stuff in separate bowls in my fridge. And here's the key. Everything's cooked. All I have to do, we're eating around 1, so probably around 10, I will pull the crock pots out and heat them up and put all of that food in crock pots. So when they come here, boom, dinner's ready. And I should hopefully be taking the turkey out. I got a big one. I'm a little worried this year. We make our own stuffing. We've been making our stuffing. And I'm sure this has happened to you over the years, is that your mom makes stuffing and your grandma, and everybody takes a spin off of that stuffing and makes their own. So what started off as one grandma making, and I swear to you, this is all it was, pork and hamburger. That was her stuffing. She put some bread in it. And then my other grandma made meat stuffing, and the celery was just so much. It was green. She had so much celery in there. And it was my grandfather that made it. And so my mother took the two and put them together. And so then she made pork, hamburger. She actually put a potato in it. I don't know why. She said it stuck together better. And a bag of breadcrumbs and a can of broth. And then she put her breadcrumbs in and heated it all together, and onions and celery, and boom. And that was her stuffing. You know, I didn't stay with that. So then I decided that I wanted to have a little spicier. So I started with, in a pan, hamburger, pork, Italian sausage, and hot Italian sausage. So I have medium and hot. So I put 3 of the hot and 4 of the mild, and mix that all together and fry it all up. And then while they're doing that, my kids are chopping 3 heads of lettuce. And actually, I think I used 2.5 this year. And a couple onions. And then don't forget the bell pepper, or the bell seasoning. There you go. Bell seasoning. So then you mix the bell and the onions and the celery all together with the meat, and you let it cook. It's going to come up with all this juice. Probably not enough, though. So I always take 1 can of Swanson's. You don't need Swanson's. You can use anything because you just want the juice. What the hell? My mind is going blank this morning. I'm guessing you know what I mean, though. Broth. There you go. And so you put all that in the pan. Then you take your bag of breadcrumbs. You want seasoned breadcrumbs. You want the cubes. And you pour the cubes in. And then you just mix it all up. And if it doesn't have that flavor, add more salt, pepper, and bell. But shit, it's good. My kids love it. This has been their tradition. Now, my son has already wung it around and made his own tradition. And he does on the same lines, but he adds different spices. And this is all about your traditions and your new traditions. And if you just left mom and you're making your own traditions, come up with something you love. Try different things. Oh my God. Ours is just developed over the years, and my sister makes it. My brother wants to eat ours. He won't make it. But yeah, I have a couple sisters that make it, and some don't. And it's going to die with my mom because they don't make it. But now, on our little day before Thanksgiving, I assign my kids certain things that they love to make. So I got one kid making the mushrooms. I got the other kid making the stuffing. So they're learning what goes in it. And even if I died tomorrow, they would have a gist of how to make it. And so this is all about traditions. It's like teach your kids what you love and what they love and how to make them. Now, one of these days, I will tell you about a recipe for clam chowder. And my kids die over this clam chowder. They love it. And I'll tell you, I was not a fan of clams for years. And then I went to a place that had this creamy clam chowder with bacon in it, and just so good. And I spent years trying to recreate it. Yeah, didn't really work. But I did end up coming up with another recipe that is amazing. And I'll tell you, when I make it, there's none left. They love it. And it's kind of like a creamy potato with bacon, and there's definitely clams in there, and there's clam juice, and it's just a taste on its own. I mean, I call it clam chowder, but I had another girl go, it's kind of like cream soup. What is clam chowder? Well, you got your Manhattan, and then you got your regular clam chowder. That's creamy. I don't know about that, but I'm going to tell you guys that there'll be lots of messages in between, all because I just blab, and I'll think of things, and I'll just tell them to you. So you need a pen and paper when you watch me, because there's certain things that you can't say on here. There's certain things that you can't do on here. And I have lots of recipes and stuff, but some of them I can't even say. So, but I can tell you, here's that secret thing, that if you get 3 grapefruits, 4 lemons, and peel them, and put it in a pan, cover it with water, and only the peels, and boil it for 3 hours on simmer, you will have a booster. If you take a teaspoon a day, you'll have a booster for lots of things that are going on around you. And I'm not going to say what it is, but do your research. But this is something simple and easy that can give you a booster to avoid things that are going on. Just a key. Just not even kidding you. Do it. So, but anyway, so the kids are coming over at 1. It's going to be a shit show. I love it. Very excited. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. And stay tuned. There'll be more thoughts. And love you guys. God bless.